And the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. If you will join me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. You all may be seated. The first item up in tonight's meeting will be a roll call. If you will answer present or whatever you like, let me know that you're here. Ms. Debbie Villagomez.
Here.
Ms. Maria Cruz Perez.
Here.
Mr. Sean Glovier.
Here.
Dr. Maria Douglas.
Here.
Ms. Felicia Moody.
Here.
Mr. Esteban Serta. Here. And Darrell Owens is here. We have a full board with us on tonight. Okay, so next will be our public comment section. So, Mr. Serta, we take a look and see if there's anyone signed up to make any comments on our agenda items. Yes.
There are none. I just did.
Okay, and are there anyone signed up for any comments on our non-agenda items?
No.
All right, well, thank you very much. Now, moving forward past that, we will now go to our special district recognitions, and I'll turn it over to Dr. G.
Our first recognitions are from our JAA, or the Childhood Center. We had our first book at JAA, and I'll let Ms. Wells come down and take you through that.
I shouldn't have sassy for it. Hi, good evening. I'm sorry. We've had a lot of firsts at JAA, and one of the best things that we've done is Ms. Pittman has created and published a book. And so we had not a book signing, but a book reading. Dr. G and Dr. Boo came. Thank you so much. And so we want to recognize our people, and so Ms. Pittman will come up. And I do want to say Ms. Pittman is amazing. She has got these babies writing. You go in her room, and she has sentence strips and sentence starters, and she's just got them all excited about writing.
She wanted me to kind of tell you how this all came about. What motivated me is I'm an aspiring children's author, but the publishing company wants me to pay $2,500 to have a book published, and so I can't just quite get myself to do that yet. And on Facebook one day, I'm scrolling through, and this company comes up, and it's they publish your book for free. And the way that they do that with schools, the way they do that is you take parent orders, and so that's how they make their money. And so I thought this was just the perfect opportunity to be able to do that and let my students become authors at such a young age and quite an accomplishment. And also it's a perfect time too because it's the first year for JAA to be open, and so we thought it'd be a great way to acknowledge the school. And every student took one room from the school and wrote about that one room and drew pictures. So what I did is I took photos of every room, and then they looked at that photo to draw the picture, and then they would tell me what they wanted to say about the room, and then I wrote it for them, and then they went and wrote it on the paper by themselves, and then I sent it off to have it published. So I guess if my students will come down, we can recognize some of these authors.
Do you want to call them by name?
When they get out here, I have a script. All hands on it.
What? Could you, Ms. Pittman, could you pass the book along so they can look at it while you're...
Janae Rogers.
Come up here.
Marcy Parker.
Come here, sweetheart. Turn around, please. Yeah, there you go.
Maya Rona. Ezra Guzman. Stanley Glacier. Blake Segretti.
So what are y'all?
Authors.
Illustrators. So thank you for this opportunity to present their project.
You want to
Let's go take a picture.
Y'all,
Over there.
you want to take a
Okay.
picture, group picture over there?
This is definitely.
They wrote about the
It's okay, I can be proud that they're not talking.
for almighty praise.
I will speak for everybody. We were very proud of all the accomplishments that have come out of Arthur this year. We got a lot of great things in our district this year, but that being the first year of Arthur, very, very proud of what that school represents and what it's going to become. So, thank you all.
Awesome. Okay, 5B.
All right. Now we're going to go to Kennedale High School, and we have a graduation, I believe.
That student could not be here again tonight in his family, and so we pushed that back from the April board meeting. Board, while I got a chance at the microphone, I will tell you really quickly, you guys have your graduation tickets. I sent an updated link to get your VIP parking passes for graduation. Also later, you will be taking into consideration a robotics grant. We have, part of the contingency for that is that we host a robotics meet. We are scheduled to host the best robotics regional meet on November 1st and 2nd. Thank you to our coaches for freeing up the gyms that weekend. So that's all I've got.
Awesome. Thank you. All right.
All right, so now we're moving on.
5C. Band solo ensemble.
That will be the junior high school band, so Bruce is on our way.
We have many great and exciting things happening at the junior high. And I'm going to start with my band one. My band director, she's like, Miss Bruce, I've done a lot of late nights. I said, I got you, don't worry about it. She goes, are we going to send all 200 kids? I said, no ma'am, I'll just read the good stuff to them. So our symphonic and honors band received sweepstakes award at the UIL concert and sight reading contest, which is a first division superior rating from every judge. The honors band competed in the Lone Star America Classical Music Festival, where they finished a first division superior rating again from every judge, and also outstanding performers of the day. The beginning band competed in the Epic Waters Music Festival, where they received a first division superior rating with an additional first division plus an outstanding beginner band of the concert. Our solo contest, every student in honors band, every student received a first division medal. That are the total of our KGH band for 6th to 8th grade students receiving that first division was 201 students. Wow. 33 received second division and 9 first division ensembles. These ensembles comprised of flute choir, clarinet choir, trombone quintet, saxophone quartet, tuba baritone large ensemble, and 3 percussion ensembles. And then she said also add trumpet trio and trumpet quartet to the ensemble list. So we did some really great business out in band this year. Over 201 awards. That's outstanding. More great things to come with Kennedale Junior High. We took the PSAT test. Our 7th and 8th grade students, not all of them, but a selection of them, recently took that PSAT 8-9 test at the junior high. And with our community, we are fortunate to have incredibly bright minds. And it is with great pride that I announce that of the 49 students who participated, 10 of our students earned scores that place them in the top 10% nationwide. Several of these students achieved scores of the 98th and 99th percentiles, a truly remarkable feat. And it is my utmost honor to recognize and celebrate these students for their remarkable accomplishments. Now, students, Ms. Hamilton is very sorry that she couldn't make it tonight. She had a family situation to take care of. She said she will gladly sign your certificates at a later time for you. And she's also sorry she's not here to hand them out. So first up, we have Amanda Mitchell. Evie Davis. Nitesa Josie. Owen Matthews. Ariana Smith. Haley Murphy. Alexa Slabaugh. Jason Navari. Araceli Howe. And Claire McCollum.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you guys. We now go to 5E.
Mr. Cagle, you got a lot of students to look forward to coming up to the high school.
I was taking names.
All right, so we're going to our fall awards, and I believe we have broken that down where each board member takes a section.
Yes.
All right.
Yep, I'm bringing up my names. Oh, right here. Okay, so for the central office, we have Andrea Bolding, Jessica Meyer, Jared Blumenthal, Rhonda Ladivia, maybe?
Ladai.
Thank you. Claude Rhodes, Andrea Morrow.
All right, for Patterson Elementary School, once again, thank you to the friendly front office. We have Carrie Clark, Sandra Baugh, Leanne Zimmerman, and Evelyn Ish. In Kennedale High School, we have Melanie Grubbs, Chelsea Allison, and Amanda Hobish. I'm sorry, that's author Amanda Hobish.
For Kennedale Junior High, we have Sonia Miller. Kara Lycos has 3. Lindsay Hammonds has 5. Emma Powell has 4. Taylor Ferris. Katie Greenwood has 3. Jennifer McCoy. Jessica Gilbert has 3. And Daniel Wager has 4.
Okay, Ann, Casey Thompson, Angela Bruce, Megan Lockwood, Belinda Bowles,
Lockwood has 6.
Oh, I'm sorry, Megan Lockwood, she has 6, that is incredible. Melinda Bowles, Caitlin Grant, James Sapp has 3. Jennifer Hamilton, Krista Porter, Thad Cone, Heather Beach.
Wait,
That's me.
Okay.
Heather Beach. Phil Irby has 2. Julio Ortega, Toby Stone, Jonathan Johnson, Juan Diaz, Chris Hendry, Celia Chavez, Chris Hartfield.
All right, I have Delaney. Michelle Reed has 5. Ms. Brooke Rhodes has 17. Ms. Kim Casperin has 6. Trisha Poor, Lena George, Shelley Wooden has 5. Angie Godwin has 6. Mr. Darren Lumen, Ms. Jeannie Limer has 4. Ms. Johanna Rowe, and Ms. Marissa Soon has 2.
And also at Delaney, Melissa Garrick has 2, Kim Jones, Yolanda Canales, Melissa Cook has 2, Lacey Hay, Manny Medina, Ashley Arbor, Natalie Ayton, April Ward, Emily Pfaff, and Kathy Nevins has 2. Great job.
And I have 3 of the award winners, and I'm going to read why they were chosen. And these are we try to pick the ones that are most impactful. Evelyn Ish is a librarian at R.F. Patterson. And what was said about Miss Ish is that Ms. Ish has been over-the-top excitement, amazing librarian this year. She has done activities with the students that have been challenging, interactive, and has gone above and beyond to make the library a magical place. She has changed students' lives with the love that she has for books and teaching. Ish also has been a PTO and made fantastic activities such as the Daddy-Daughter Dance go off without a hitch. She is diligent in all she does. Her main goal is the students every day, and that is what is most important. And that was from Angela Lilly, RFP teacher. And I will add to that, Ms. Ish organized a donation for books so that every student at the campus could have a book that was purchased for them during the book fair, and you know, above and beyond effort. So congratulations, Ms. Ish. Melinda Bowles at the in Kennedale Junior High School. I've only had Ms. Bowles for half the year, yet her class has become one of my favorite. All the activities we do there have some relation to high school and college readiness, which is very helpful as an incoming freshman whose life in high school reflects onto college. One of my most memorable assignments was playing the game Payback. It's a game that puts us through a simulation of our college life, basically giving us a feel on how to budget and properly spend money without going into extreme debt. I like doing that assignment because it requires us to make some hard decisions while balancing our happiness, social life, and academics. I also appreciate the freedom she gives us while working on assignments. We can move around to sit with our friends, talk in a level 1 voice, and collaborate amongst ourselves. Overall, Ms. Bowles is an amazing teacher and should be recognized for all she does to prepare us for our future. KJH student. Ms. Bruce, will you make sure she's on that committee meeting that we're going to have this week? Okay. Amanda Hobish at James A. Arthur Early Childhood Center. Did I say that right, Ms. Wills? Hobish? Hobish, sorry. My daughter Valeria is a kindergarten student at JAA, and Ms. Hobish's class. I would like to share with you what an amazing year we have had in her classroom. Her patience, compassion, energy, enthusiasm, strong work ethic, and excellent communication are a few things that make her stand out as an extraordinary teacher. Valeria's personality is shy, quiet, and reserved, and it takes a minute for her to warm up. Mrs. Hobish took the time to establish a relationship with her. By creating that relationship, Valeria has bloomed into a leader in her class. She loves going to school every day. She's excited about what she will learn that day. Ms. Hobish has pushed her to grow much with her schoolwork, and even without her pushed her to grow so much with her schoolwork and even out of her comfort zone, and for that I'm extremely grateful. Her MAP scores are proof of the relationship she has built with her. She knows what she is capable of, and when she needs a break, Valeria has done more than exceed expectations, and it's all thanks to the wonderful teacher she has. Ms. Hobish truly cares, I keep butchering the name, I'm sorry, truly cares about her students, and she makes a very huge impact on their lives. Her patience, encouragement, and dedication have made all the difference in Valeria's progress. We are amazed at how far she's come under her tutelage, and we are forever grateful for her unwavering belief in Valeria's potential. We thank her for being an amazing teacher and a role model. I appreciate all of her work this school year and would like you to know, and like you all to know that. She has high expectations for her students, and she is making sure they all reach their goals. She is a valuable member to have on your campus. And that is from a kindergarten parent at JAA.
That's so sweet.
Congratulations to all of the recipients.
And we are at the end of the year, so we are going to award a few more certificates for, these are Kennedale ISD Certificate of Excellence. This is Stephanie Davis. Stephanie has been an amazing volunteer. These are all of our volunteers on our campuses recognized by our staff. Stephanie has been an amazing volunteer to our third grade team this year. She constantly volunteers to help out in our classroom with the fun activities, as well as helping us out with making copies, sorting, cutting, and putting things together for us in the classroom. She is always willing to help out in any way possible. We're so grateful to have her as a volunteer and love having her son engaged in our classroom this year. Having a great parent support helps our jobs as teachers so much easier, makes our job as teachers so much easier. Thanks so much for all you have done this year. Recognized by Miss Melissa Garrick. Is Miss Davis here in the audience?
Yeah.
Come on down. Get this over here, but all you do. Just go over here. We're gonna step over here.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Y'all wanna go too?
Yeah.
Let's go. If I stand here, can y'all hear me okay? Okay, all right. Well, this one's pretty simple. So, this lady is wonderful. She does so much for the community, schools, and staff. She goes above and beyond, making sure everything is always great. A wonderful individual. We could not ask for a better person to be part of this school. Recognized by Casey Thompson, and this is for Miss Debbie Villagomez. Miss Ebony Berry.
I don't think anybody else is.
I'm sorry?
No, I
Okay.
don't think the rest are.
So let me read this one. Miss Berry is an all-star mom, substitute, and volunteer on campus. She is always smiling and happy to offer a helping hand. I am grateful for Miss Berry as she is a wonderful example of the kind of involvement parent KHS needs. And this is recognized by Kylie Robinson. So congratulations, Miss Berry. Amber Burns. Okay. Amber Burns is a rock star. She is there for all of the school events and supports our classrooms during parties. She is organized and gathers all party supplies and puts on the best parties ever. She has a huge heart and is always trying to figure out where she can help out and support our teachers. Thank you, Amber, for your dedication to the school, recognized by Brooke Rhodes. Congratulations. I'm going to make sure that the campuses get these to the volunteers. Katie Clundy. Okay. Katie is our PTO president and is doing a great job. She has organized meals and sweet treats for teachers and staff. I appreciate her stepping up and taking on this role this year. Thank you, Katie, for your hard work and dedication to support our Delaney Elementary. Nominated by Brooke Rhodes. Congratulations, Katie Clundy. Cludy, sorry, I said that name wrong. Cludy. Marcella Brown. She has helped so much this year. She has worked to get other parents involved in the choir program to support the students and make this year as great as possible. She has done everything she can to make it awesome, and I am so thankful for Marcella. Nominated or recognized by Michaela Schrum. Congratulations. Samantha King. Ms. King helped out during field day with Ms. Rhodes' class and provided popsicles for the whole grade level. We needed a cool treat for that hot day. Thank you, nominated or recognized by Brooke Rhodes. Thank you, Samantha King. Amber Burns. Ms. Burns helped out Mrs. Rhodes' class during the field day. She provided a cooler full of drinks to keep the students hydrated and snacks. Thank you, once again, Brooke Rhodes. And Jimmy Burns. Mr. Burns supported our class during field day by bringing a cooler of cold water for all students. He helped clean up trash in their stands after field day was over. Thank you, and once again recognized by Brooke Rhodes. Okay. All right. I guess we don't have anybody else, so we can sit down. So, all right. And I think that is all of our recognition.
That's it.
I'm taking Marcella's too.
Oh, I have one more special recognition for myself, so, not for me, but from me. So, back during the chili supper, we had the silent auction, and I had put up a thing to be superintendent for the day, and Miss Lily from Patterson Elementary School, I think it was $200 or $300, I can't remember, she bid for that, and so that was quite a bit to bid for superintendent of the day. And then she got to thinking, and she had an epiphany, and she said, hey, instead of me coming and hanging out with you, how about I send one of my students? And I was like, I like that idea. So we had a young gentleman named Grayson Rigsby join us today. His mother is in the, I believe, your assistant, Ms. Clark, in the office at Patterson. Great kid. So Grayson hung out with Ms. Dunlap and I this all morning, and I think we wore him out before field day. We walked every campus we had. I said, what do you think the hardest part about being a superintendent is? And he said, walking these campuses. I was like, yeah, that's why I cripple around all the time. He I think enjoyed it. His favorite part was seeing the indoor playground and the castle in the gym at Arthur in the indoor play area. That second part was, I think, the press box at the field house, looking out onto the field and being up there. So, but I think he had a good time. We had a good time. We had donuts, and then we had chicken McNuggets at lunch. So that's his favorite meals, McNuggets, I guess. So that was his choice. So anyway, but good day. So I wanted him to be here tonight, but I think the little guy's too tired to be here.
He had a big day.
We wore him out, so he couldn't hang. So all right, but he did a great job. He did. Ms. West had him sign some very important documents today. I think he gave everybody $1 million raise, I think is what he said. And then he got to award a CCMR medal to one of our graduating seniors, so that just qualified today for CCMR eligible. By the way, kudos to Mr. Cagle and Ms. Rawls and y'all staffs for Ms. Gray for getting these students CCMR qualified. They we're up to 82.5% with our CCMR qualification. That's another recognition right there. Yeah, it's only 88 to be an A in the state of Texas now. 88%, but yeah, we're 88, 82.5. So yeah, that's
All right, awesome.
I think that covers us.
Is that it? That covers everything? All right, great. Thank you, Dr. G, for all those recognitions. I think those, it's very important. We don't want to go and minimize that. Without the volunteers, obviously we can't be the school district that we are. We'll move to section 6, which is our consent agenda. All items under this subheading will be adopted with one motion unless they will be removed by one of the board members, and no one has mentioned anything. So the items on here are going to be the board minutes from April 30th, the regular meeting and the special meeting, and also the ESC Region 11 Benefits Cooperative Interlocal Agreement. So that being
I
said,
motion to approve all items under the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
so that was motion by Mr. Glovier and second by Dr. Douglas. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously. That takes us to section 7, Okay, this begins our information-only section, and we'll start with 7A, which was our financial statement, and everyone has had a chance to review that and have got no questions regarding that come my way. So we now go to 7B, which is the School Health Advisory Council, the SHAC Annual Report.
And Ms. Humphrey will give us that report.
Okay, we have a clarification down here.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
What about 6B, the Region 11 Benefits Cooperation Interlocking Agreements?
Is that combined with,
That was on the
It was under
consent
the
agenda.
It's on the consent agenda. I think it was just separated for information so that you saw.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, because.
It has an
it says
action.
action.
There's an action to be taken.
If you accept the consent agenda, I believe it should.
Yes,
be
so-
fine. If you approve the consent agenda, that's action. You took it. It should be fine.
Just want to confirm.
Yeah.
All set.
It says as presented.
I think it was just separated so you saw that that was
Yeah.
an additional item on the consent agenda. So, okay. All right.
So again, part of,
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's my point of order. I thought he was gonna do something else. The first one for information only was the financial statements. We were just supposed to read those. She wasn't gonna present anything.
yes, so from now on, we started this about 3 months ago. The financial statements on our part are now separate. It's not on the consent agenda, but
Right.
it is
Just
presented.
for your review.
Yes, for our review, presented to us before the meeting, and if there are any questions, then you let me have that before we start.
So then, if she's not going to speak, which that's fine if you don't, then why, but we're going to listen to Shaq?
Yes.
That's B.
I know, that's the point. If we're going to have, no one's gonna speak for A, someone's gonna speak for B, and someone's gonna speak for C, I assume, then someone should be speaking for A, or A should go back to the consent agenda if no one's gonna talk.
A is just financials that have already taken place in the district. So there's
I-
nothing really to speak to on it. So it's just for review, for the board's review. It's not an information item. When information is review, it doesn't have to be spoken on.
Then it should move, but we can talk about that. Just as long as my statement is made and put in the minutes, that for consistency and for the flow of the agenda, if it's for information only and no one's going to speak, then it needs to move, is my comment to that. So that was my point of clarification, so I'm ready for B.
Okay,
Yeah.
your point of clarification has
Thank
been heard and has been recorded. And we will take that under advisement as well and have a conversation about that. Okay? All right, okay. So now we will go to section 7B, which is the SHAC annual report.
Now, there's her. Humphrey.
Hello and good evening. I'm Nurse Humphrey, for those of you I've not met yet. I am new to the district. I started August of last year. I have been hosting the School Health Advisory Council meetings. We've had 4. It is new for me to come to education, so a lot of us are getting our feet wet all together. We do have a good sense of direction of what we'd like to do in the fall. We did struggle a little bit with attendance to try to get change put into the district or bring something to present to you guys to try to make a change to our health curriculum. But I'm confident that with the core group that I have and trying to recruit more parents, that we'll be able to do and give more of an impact to our district starting in the fall. Okay.
Okay?
Did you guys have any questions for me?
I have one question.
Sure.
Do you only have parents? Do you have any students?
We had, originally, we had 3 students sign up. Sometimes there was a struggle with what they had committed to in the district. I tried to schedule things to where there wouldn't be games they needed to attend or events that they needed to be at. By the second, I believe it was the second meeting, I made it to where you could dial in. So the remainder meetings for the rest of the year, people could dial into. But I really do want school involvement. I had approached the CTE teacher about trying to get some of those kids to take a part in our community. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. So we'll now go to section 7C, which is the local assessment and progress monitoring for HB3.
Dr. Vu will be presenting that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I've had a cold for 2 weeks. Can you hear me? Okay. So I'm here tonight to report out on our MAP growth end of year data. I do this in May, and then whenever our STAR results are returned, then I'll come back with that as well. So a review, and these are slides that you've seen before. MAP growth is our local assessment. It's given beginning of the year, middle of the year, and the end of the year. It focuses on the amount of growth and progress that students make from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. But because we have this data for several years now, we're able to compare where students were last year as to where they are here. So I have a few different graphs for you that I think you'll find helpful in terms of the information. We began in 2020. We did find in 2020, as we've discussed before, that kindergarten parents did better on the MAP assessment than their students did later. So we had a couple of years where it was tricky with kindergarten, but it's really leveled out, and so I think you'll be pleased to see the growth. These are the specific tests that they take and by grade level, and this is what is going to be reported out today. So we've looked at several different pieces of data, and the thing that really stands out about MAP growth and why it is such a helpful tool in terms of measuring our students' progress is that it gives us a national percentile ranking. And so this is something that you know, this is how SAT, ACT are reported out on. But anything 50% or above means our students are performing above the national average. And so we're looking for that. We can see where they come in at the beginning of the year. We can see where they end. One thing that's interesting too, and it's important to know, and I'll point this out, is that it's reported out on RIT score. So let's say first grade, I'm gonna make up a number just for the sake of the explanation, but in first grade, a 10 RIT score is 50th percentile, right? At the end of the year for first grade, it would be a 13, would be 50th percentile for RIT, because it includes the progress that's meant to be made throughout the grade level. So when you're looking at percentiles, BOY to EOY, 10 to 10 is great. That means on average our students are making adequate progress. Anything above 10 is amazing. So these are the growth goals we've discussed previously in terms of we want our students to be growing at an above average rate, ideally. So I'm gonna start with math and go by grade level. So for kindergarten, first and second, because we don't have any STAR projections, you can see that in the fall, they tested at well above average, and they came in knocking it out of the park at a 92%. So our kindergarten students on average perform better than 92% of the students nationally. It's great news. Some great things are happening in kindergarten this year. And then 66% of students met or exceeded growth. So a solid number for this one would be above 55%, because you have to take into account mobility rate. When students are moving in and out, you take into account absentee rate, you take into account learning differences, certain kinds of disabilities, and so anything above 55% is great. And then as we discussed before, when you have very high achieving students, sometimes they don't necessarily meet their projected growth on every single administration. First grade is a hot spot for us, and you'll see this throughout. It's something we're going to be focused on very closely next year. So they came in at 48, and in the spring they tested at 41. So keep in mind, they still did grow. They just, on average, did not make their projected progress. And then 48% of our first grade students did make their projected progress. Second grade, again, we saw 43 to 40 it's a slight dip, but 43 to 43 is spot on, it's solid. So we do have a dip there, and then 48% of our students made their projected progress. So when we get into third grade, we're going to start looking at projections for STAR because of the federal accountability and state accountability that's connected to that. So what I've done for you here, because I think that it would be helpful, is I've shown you what I presented last spring. So 29.7 is how this year's third graders performed in second grade. So this is a cohort analysis, essentially. So we can see solid growth here. And then 68% of our students met or exceeded their growth. So overall strong. Third grade had a strong showing. Fourth grade, 27 to 56, very well done. Over 50% of our students made their projected growth. Fifth grade, 27 to 32 is still a solid increase because of the way that it's measured. And these are the same students from year to year, so they're making more, on average, more than a year's worth of progress. And then 42% of those students met or exceeded their growth projections. 23 to 23, but there's a small difference there, but they're still on track with 42% of our students making progress. Sixth grade is a hot spot, which you'll see later as well. Seventh grade math, we saw a small dip, but over half of our students met or exceeded their growth projections. Eighth grade, 21%, so we did see a strong increase. So this particular cohort of students, they struggled last year in seventh grade, and they did make progress in eighth grade, but it's still not where we want them to be. And so we talk about expected progress measure, which is an important piece of, we want students to make at least 1 year of progress when they come to us and when they spend time with us. And we want them to make more than that. So this is the graph that you will like. So what you can see is, for the most part, we have a hot spot in first grade and fifth grade and sixth grade, but overall in math, other than those grade levels, they met their progress measure on average. So that's good to see. Oh, I'm sorry, let's just celebrate kindergarten quickly. They did amazingly well. So I can't wait, especially because first grade is our hotspot this year. So we're going to be looking at teaching assignments. We're just going to be looking at different pieces of that. I can't wait to see how kindergarten performs next year because they did so well this year. I'm excited to see that. And then this is spring 2023 to spring 2024. This is first grade to first grade, second grade to second grade. So you can see just two different pieces of that.
Third grade.
So overall, in all but first and fifth grade, they outperformed where they were last year. So strong showing in math. Now we'll look at reading by grade level. So again, kindergarten knocked it out of the park. I'm so excited for and proud of them. They've done some really great things. 73% of our students met their growth progress measure or prediction. We saw a dip in first grade. We're going to be looking closely at that. A little less than half of our students made their projected growth. We saw an increase in second grade with over half of our students meeting their expected progress. Third grade, a small increase. On average, they met their projections with a little bit extra, and not quite half. We saw a dip in fourth grade reading, 41 to 38, and then almost half, but not quite half of our students met their expected growth. Again, fifth grade is something we're going to be looking at closely across the board. 37 to 33 with 40%. Sixth grade, 37 to 33, so we saw a small dip at 42%, meeting their growth projections. Seventh grade, 53%, and eighth grade did really well. And this year, I've spent more time in classrooms than I've spent in previous years, and this tracks with what I'm seeing in classrooms as well. So that's good news because I have some ideas for where we can target to get these numbers up in some of the grade levels that aren't doing as well as others. And so overall, we see solid showing in kindergarten and second grade. Ninth and 10th grade is always, it's always a challenge with math growth because there's so many other assessments, which is why I built in ACT, SAT data and the TSI, because that's a better predictor in high school by the time you get to it. Because in 9th and 10th grade, we have some retesters, we have some kids that don't take it at the beginning of the year. We just have more challenges once you get to high school because of the way that high school courses are structured than we have in the lower grades. So again, you can see overall in reading, we have some areas that we want to focus on. But other than these 4 grade levels, we saw strong increase from last year to this year with these cohorts. This is language in use. It's the grammar mechanics, where's the comma go, how to use a semicolon. This is built into the STAR reading test. So you can see overall, they did pretty well. We need to look at 3rd grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, a little bit of 8th grade. But again, you can see, when you're seeing how they performed last year to this year, they still made solid progress. I thought this graph was helpful because you look at it and, 34%, for example, in 3rd grade, that might leave you with questions, but when you see how they performed in 2nd grade, these particular students, you see that they are making growth, and they're making growth at a faster than 1 year per year progress. Science. So in 5th grade science, we saw a small dip, but over 60% of our students met or exceeded their growth projections. If you recall from my previous presentation, we had a hard time in 6th grade science last year, so that tracks with what we're seeing. 8th grade science did very well. They did better than last year with 45% meeting their growth projections, but overall, they're meeting or exceeding their projected progress other than 6th grade. So we need to look at 6th grade science, what's happening in those classrooms and what can we do to support them. But again, other than 6th grade, we are seeing strong progress across the grade levels. So this is the part where we focus on growth. So this is also a cohort analysis. So as you can see, when you look at the kids who took the PSAT 21-22, and then you can look at how, when they took the SAT the following year, we saw growth there. And then we also saw growth from 22-23 to 23-24. So we get these numbers once a year. So these are the numbers I shared with you before, but we're seeing growth with our PSAT, SAT alignment. And then I did share this with you in the fall, but overall our school is outperforming the state and national averages, which tracks also with our MAP growth data, right? If they're above 50%, it means they're doing better than students nationally, and so we're able to monitor this very closely with these assessments. This is what I did not have for you in the fall because it wasn't complete. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So you can see overall, and so we're going to add each year, you'll be able to see the progress that we're making. So last year versus this year, we had a lot more students meet the standard for TSIA math and ELAR and for both. So we did see a slight decline in our ELAR, but then when you look at both and you look at the soaring numbers that we're seeing in math, that it's an important shift. And so as we've introduced College Bridge, it's a program sponsored by the state that allows us to provide very targeted support for these students. I anticipate seeing these numbers continuing to rise. This is our last year of our HB3, which we started in 2020. So you can see, so the ones in green are for this year. You can see the goal with the actual versus the sub-pops below that. So if it's in bold, it means they either met or exceeded their goal. So kindergarten did really well this year. That's the pattern that we're seeing. 1st grade did not do as well this year. That's the pattern that we're seeing. So we're going to look very closely at 1st grade over the summer and just look at some additional supports that we can provide for that particular grade level. 2nd grade performed better than 1st grade, but they still need some additional supports. And then when you look at 3rd grade overall, we exceeded the target overall, and then when you look at the sub-pops, the ones in bold, met or exceeded their target. So we have African American, Hispanic. It looks like they exceeded their target, with African American being our highest performing sub-pop. This is for kindergarten. They did really well this year. I'll say that. This is You can see, again in green, this is the reading piece, red is math. So 73%, we exceeded our target, and then you can see below in bold, in almost every category they exceeded their target. This is first grade. Again, we need to look at first grade closely over the summer. This is second grade. They were closer, but there's still areas of opportunity there as well. And then this is third grade. Now keep in mind, this is all based on MAP EOY scores, and so I'm going to bring you the STAR scores once we receive them. So over the summer, the principals develop a campus improvement plan that we'll present to you in the fall. I'll be working on the district improvement plan along with central office team, and we'll bring that to you based on these numbers as well as the numbers from our STAR data that we start getting ESC data tomorrow, and then the rest will come in through the end of May. And so I'm eager to see how well our students did. Questions?
Any questions for Dr. Boo on the presentation?
So I have a quick question for you. First of all, this is as usual, phenomenal compilation of data. I appreciate it. I was just curious, is it possible on MAP data to separate by elementary school?
It is.
Okay. Could we do that in the future?
In your board book, you have a report for all of the different campuses.
Okay.
The one that's elementary
Oh, is it a
BOI?
different document?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be in a folder. I can show you
There's
where
a lot
it
of
is.
things there.
Just make it through.
All right, thank you.
Just a question, I know, like you said, a lot of this will be addressed in the campus improvement and district improvement plans.
Mm-hmm.
Just remind me, in those plans, is it spelled out very specifically, first grade, we intend to do this, third grade math, we intend to do this, to address some of these areas that we're seeing? Or is it more of a more generalized improvement plan?
It depends on the author of the plan.
Okay.
So that is some feedback that we're going to be discussing with principals as we're moving into the summer, to really drill down to specific grade levels, specific sub-pops, and look at areas of opportunity. Not just, oh, we're going to work on reading, but specifically in first grade, these are the strategies that we're going to implement.
And I would also say that this is this year's data. So
Right.
first grade this year, it's gonna be next year's second grade.
Right.
So their plans are gonna have to incorporate
Right.
the plan for second grade.
Right, right.
For those students that are struggling this year in first grade.
Correct. And that's kind of where my question was going, because some of them seem to be the same grade levels. So we're seeing, for example, sixth was had some opportunities in some areas. Well, so did fifth. So now those fifth graders are going into sixth grade. So
Yes.
it seems like it really needs to be a very targeted, very specific in those
Yes.
campus improvement plans. What are we doing, other than, like you said, we're gonna work on,
Reading.
right?
Right.
Right.
One thing that's interesting to me too, and this is not something that would be part of a board presentation, but if you look at the data from previous years, some of the sixth grade struggles, whether it's this year or next year, so even when you do a cohort analysis, that's where I'm saying we need to look really closely at the teaching assignments, the master schedule. There are all kinds of things that we can look at that may be contributing to that we could address.
Awesome. And some of those will be brought back to us as kind of just what the game plan is.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes. Did you find the reports you were looking for?
Yes, I did, sir.
Yes. Anybody else?
Ms. Cruz Perez, is there a question you got?
No, I'm reading.
Oh,
I have to
okay.
squint.
I saw the look on your face, just want to make sure
No,
that
I'm
we
reading.
weren't going to pass by a good question.
Well, I'm here every night, especially the last 2 weeks. So if you need anything, just let me know. I'm happy to provide additional clarification and additional data points for you. This is what I have for the public board presentation.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wood.
Thank you.
All right, so that takes care of section 7. So we now move over to section 8, which is the business items that require action. We'll start with 8A, and that's UTA Computer Science and Engineering Department sponsorship of KHS Robotics Team.
Mr. Cagle, is Mrs. French here?
Ms. French is not here, but I can give a little bit of information.
Okay, why don't you come on up and,
Okay.
yeah. I know you spoke to this a little bit earlier, but let's just,
Yeah, I'd just go ahead and do it officially. We have, Ms. French has connection there in that department at the computer science and department there at UT Arlington. They have some grant money and have reached out with us. They sent us a letter, and you guys may have a copy of that. I do not have it in front of me, where they offered to give us, I think, $3,000 or is it $3,500 in grant money. And I apologize for not remember. There's a lot. We got graduation Friday, guys. We're just trying to get there. And so a $3,000 sponsorship. It was a small one. There is a contingency that we host a robotics meet. So that was actually a little bit more difficult than possible because basketball scheduling this early in the year for next fall, but we have reserved, we will do, and we also had our construction meeting, so we will have the gym available in the cafeteria. If anybody came or saw the live stream last year, they actually played techno music the whole time, and so it was like being at a dance club, I guess, but it was a really neat event. But anyway, we are hosting the Best Robotics Meet. They liked our facility there, how they could set up the booths in the cafeteria, you could see in the gym. They just had a good experience, and so they want to come back to Kennedale. So I'm glad to have them. That's a good group of engineers, and get to. We host a lot of schools. They come in from West Texas and big schools, small schools, and gives our kids a good home meet. So
now, I thought UTA was going to be here to kind of do the
I don't know if they had something, but
or photo op or whatever. But I think
photo op.
Changed, so.
We can certainly do that, but it's a good consideration. I just know the amount there for that would need board approval. Is that correct? Because of the amount and all of those things.
Yeah, it would be like the Education Foundation.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Y'all accept the donations from the Education Foundation.
Gotcha.
So.
And I will talk with Ms. French and their representative and see if they can come out and get a picture with you guys from there. Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome,
Mr.
thank you,
Cagle.
Ms. Cagle. All right.
Can I tell you one more thing that's good?
Well, I
Well,
got the mic.
Y'all, we got some good news this week. It's such a fun week. We had a kiddo, Merve Bajika, who I'll just loosely connect, not on robotics. All right, but Merve Bajika got notice today that we had several of our students apply to something called the Texas Leadership Scholars Program. In the state of Texas, 18 of the public schools give 300 total scholarships. Well, they did 250. They did 300 this year. They had really late, delayed things. It pays from everything from housing to food, 4 years of leadership training, tuition, fees, all the stuff. Anyway, Merve Bajika, one of our graduating seniors, was notified that she did get one of those. So that's 4 years paid for her. I'm going to do a little write-up if you know the background with her and her sister Betty, who's in college. They are both the immigrants from the Democratic Republic of Congo, They are here, and their parents should be proud of those two girls as they have. This one is going paid for. College at UNT, by the way. So I'll
Shout out.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so we'll now go to 8B.
Point of
You have to
order.
make a motion.
What?
We have to.
Huh?
We gotta take our feet, yeah.
Thank you for that, for the double tapping on my aggressiveness there to move on. Okay, I'll entertain a motion. at this
Make a
particular
motion to accept the donation of funds from the Computer Science and Engineering Department at the University of Texas at Arlington in the amount of $3,000 to support the Kennedale High School robotics team.
Motion
Second.
by Dr. Douglas
Second.
and second by Ms. Villagomez. So all in favor of accepting of the funds, let it be known by the sound aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously. Awesome.
I appreciate y'all's aggressiveness.
Okay. And now, I think we can move to 8B. Okay, JJAEP Memorandum of Understanding 2425.
Dr. Devlin will be presenting that.
Good evening. Before you, you have our annual requirement with our JJAEP MOU, which outlines provisions every school year and how we provide services to students and ensuring we're following Chapter 37 guidelines. Do you have any questions or any clarifying? Requires signature by the board president, secretary, and our superintendent.
No questions from me. Did anyone else have any additional questions? Okay, no additional questions. Then, we're in order for a motion as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 JJAEP Memorandum of Understanding as presented.
So that's motion by Mr. Cruz Perez and seconded by Mr. Serta. All in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion also passes unanimously.
You or Mr. Sproul? Who's presenting, you or Mr. Sproul? I thought it has Mr. Sproul on it.
It does, I was ahead, sorry, I was skipping.
I'm sorry?
I was looking at the wrong number.
Okay,
So it's-
all right.
Sorry.
Well, 8C, discuss and consider renewal with the AAA security.
Mr. Sproul will come down it.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
This document is to renew the contract with the armed security company that we're using at, well, this year we used them at 3 campuses. We'll be using them at 4. This coming year, there'll be an additional officer at DAEP for the next 24-25 school year.
We talked about expanding DAP and with the Wildcat Success Center. And we had Mr. Sproul at central office, but right there by it, but with it expanding, we need to have another officer.
So it's pretty straightforward.
Any questions?
So I had a chance to look at that, so I believe that it's a smart move. And will serve us well, especially again, just like you said, with the expansion of DAEP. So I think that's great. Okay. Any additional questions for Mr. Sproul? And then we will entertain a motion regarding that as well.
I motion to approve renewing the AAA security for armed security officers for the 24-25 school year.
Second.
So that is motion by Mr. Glover and second by Ms. Cruz Perez. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Sproul. And we now go to 8D, which is the 24-25
Now you're up.
KISD Region 11 contract.
Tonight I have the Region 11 annual contract for you. It's gone up a slight increase, a little less than $4,000, and that's mainly in our Ascender software is where the increase was. Other than that, there's no other changes to it.
It's hard to play with.
Hey, quick question, maybe, I know it seems like it's small, but what percentage is that of an increase?
I don't know the percentage. I didn't even bring my glasses.
4,000 of 100 and what?
It's
185.
185,000.
So 3856 of 184 and 97.
I think that's less than the cost, less than inflation, isn't it?
Ish.
The official language of ish. Okay, right. All right, any questions from any board members? All right, then if there are no questions, sounds like a good deal to me.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with ESC, Region 11 for the 24-25 school year as presented. Sorry.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Serter and second by Dr. Douglas. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously.
You gotta get them in there if you want to make a motion.
That's true. That's true. I'm proud of you.
Good evening.
So we're now at 8E, discuss and consider the schematic design for JF Delaney renovations as related to the 2023 bond.
Yes, exactly. So I'm here to present the progress we made on the schematic design for Delaney. Hopping to the first slide, this explains the scope that we have for the exterior of the building. On the planned north side, we're adding some additional curb cuts for accessibility. On the east side, we'll look at a new layout for a new playground area. This is a very large playground area that's currently in place, so we're looking at how to make that maybe a little bit more efficient. Also, while coordinating with Reliance Architects regarding the warehouse scope that's adjacent to us so that we can create an efficient layout here with the playground area, maybe introduce some additional parking for Delaney. We're also looking at how deliveries are made to this building and see if we can provide a better loading area for the food service area on the east side of the building.
Josh, we may need some orientation here. I mean, so the road that you see on the left-hand side, that's the parkway. Okay, so that's Delaney facing out to, and then you've got the central warehouse that's gonna be right building on the very bottom right there, that's the central warehouse.
Yes.
That's the field back behind everything that used to be the old
Yes.
football
So
field.
this is the east side, so
Right.
it's true to the orientation on how it is on our plan. Also, for the exterior scope, we're planning on cleaning and sealing the exterior walls, painting the exterior trim and doors, and replacing the expansion joint sealant around the perimeter of the building. When we move inside the building, this color plan just shows the areas that we're renovating and the different scopes that we have throughout the building. So the green area is focused on kind of the classroom instructional spaces, cafeteria, library. Those are all getting new paint, new flooring, and new ceilings. The renovated areas in the purple for the corridors, that's focused on new paint, flooring, providing a new tile wainscot, and ceiling tiles replacement in the corridors as well. The restrooms have a little bit more scope. That's addressing ADA updates that need to be addressed, all new finishes in the restrooms as well. And then in the gymnasium, we'll have new flooring, new acoustical panels on the wall, help with the acoustics in the space, new wall pads, and new paint. So a few weeks ago, we had a meeting where my interior designer presented a few color options, interior design color palettes. This was the one that was overwhelmingly people gravitated toward. Thinking back to what we did at Arthur with wayfinding, so each grade level will have a color associated with that to help with the wayfinding. That'll be a color that's on the floor leading to a doorway with maybe a portal that has the color similar to what you see in this inspiration image on the far right side. And then also a stripe of that flooring down the hallway for second, third, fourth, and fifth grade to help those students line up as the students line them up to take them different places within the building. So this is the color scheme that we're working from. When I come back for the design development presentation in a few months, we'll actually have the finishes that correlate to these colors that were selected. And then as far as schedule goes, so today we're here presenting the schematic design presentation. We'll come back for design development presentation in July. Then we'll move into our construction documents. That will wrap up in September. And then we'll move into bidding and permitting and coordinating with the contractor for construction. Any questions?
Yes. You said ceiling tiles.
Yes, ma'am.
So Delaney has a tradition of having the fourth graders paint ceiling tiles. Are we getting rid of that?
Okay, I have the same question. Can we and I know this is a question for you.
Is there a way we
Can we reach out to some parents, students that attended Delaney and maybe they can
and they can pick up their tiles?
That's the plan. So yes, to sit there and give them an option to pick those up.
So our plans will say to take them down, protect them, and return to the owner so that y'all can decide what you do with them from there.
I'm okay with that.
You know, we're also the lockers that are
I'm
in.
sad. I mean, I think it's a tradition that's been around for a long time.
That's a really sad
And it's
big blow.
a big blow.
That's
And
like-
yeah, I've had, my kids just did it, and so I don't have any more littles, but I think it's something that all kids, I remember my kids saying in kindergarten, yes, I'm gonna get to do that when I get to fourth grade. Yeah, I mean, I get having a beautiful school and colors look great and design looks awesome, but
That's a big piece of
that's
the
a big
history.
piece of the history and of what Delaney is.
I think it started in 2010, so
That's 14 years.
I know.
I didn't do it.
You're too old.
Just saying.
But
So there are a few things, this actually has come up in other districts that I work in. It seems to be a
is
tradition.
there a way we can integrate something and get creative?
Actually, there's two things. One, as you paint it or adjust the acoustic ceiling tile, it does affect the acoustics of that tile and the performance for the classroom space is one thing. Second thing I've run into in other districts, not necessarily here with the fire marshal, but they have had issues in other districts regarding the fire properties of the acoustic tile and the painting or whatever you're doing to it affecting that. So the fire marshal has actually told us in other districts, we have to replace it.
They haven't told us that here, so.
Again, I haven't
Right.
had that conversation with fire marshal for Kennedale, that was in another district, but we've seen this occur in other districts as well.
It makes us sad.
Yeah. It makes me sad for all the little
And
ones
not
that are
just us,
waiting on it.
not
And not
just the
just
board.
I mean, the
board,
board,
not,
but-
yeah, but for all those 300,
fix it,
400
Josh.
kids, 400 kids that are looking forward to doing
Wow.
it.
That was
Can we
part
get
of the script
creative?
that was handed to me, so
Can we
I-
get creative?
Let's make a new building just for the time.
No, but we can get creative.
That doesn't sound like it was in the scope of the bond, so I'm going to say no to that.
But if you could at least get them down, you know,
Yes.
carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely preserving them and
It is what it is.
We could, no.
We have some at the high school also, and we had a similar note, and if the district chooses to, we were hoping, or maybe a solution is along the art hallways where those would get installed. There's not as many at the high school as I think what we have at Delaney, but that was an example of a proposed solution for the high school if everybody's in agreement, fire marshal, city, everybody's on board. But for now, it's a take down, protect, and turn over to the owner.
that's like 400 kids that are looking forward to doing their ceiling tiles in a
Is
few
there-
years.
We talked
Yeah,
about.
I
cost
said a
around
number,
some-
but it's true. Let's put, it's got a face, it's got a number, it's kids, it's not just, yes, I am.
It's hard. We all
I
want
am
the brand
picking a
new
point on
things, but
tiles.
it's also a lot of memories.
Doesn't do much
attached
good
to
to
it,
sit
too.
there and renovate the interior if the tiles are.
We get it.
I
Is there, how
get
about
it.
the gym?
Right.
What if we
Can
move them all
we-
into some big area?
So
Yeah,
I-
is there a
what I
way we
think
could
is-
get creative and
That's what I was
still
gonna say.
let
I
the
think-
kids be able to have some sort of a tradition?
Sounds like a request for creativity.
Yes, that's what I'm
That's-
saying. I'm
that's
not
what
saying,
you're
no, we have to keep the tiles. I'm just saying,
I
can we
am.
I
get
think
creative?
This is
Can
a
we get
great
creative?
opportunity for Ms. Poor and the team at, I see her hiding back there.
Don't hide, Miss Poor.
To come up with a new tradition.
Yep.
I know
When
it's a
you were in a
crazy
classroom
idea, but-
teaching, you did this with your kiddos. too.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Your
I will
son
just say that
painted.
this has been an issue on other campuses in
Yeah.
other ways, where you start painting rocks out front, and then over time, the durability of what you've created
This is
doesn't
not the
last
same
and
as a
hold
rock.
up, and then
It's
it
not the
starts
same as a
repeating
rock,
itself.
yes.
Yeah.
And no, but I think what we always.
Planters
and
boxes at, Patterson, we've had this
I
conversation.
always say it.
The gardens at Patterson, and then the upkeep and keeping up with those, and just the different things. We've had tiles that get destroyed with water damage when you walk out and you see that, I mean, we can't replace those.
Let's
I
look
mean,
into it.
So.
Let's get creative.
I don't think that's a.
Let's get creative.
I feel like that's a campus thing that we're just gonna have to come up with a new tradition.
Yep.
So,
Okay?
thank you
So-
for that.
That's why we
Thanks.
had talked about, this was,
Well,
I don't
we
know
have
how
to
long,
remember, we're here
in the
for
meeting the other day,
kids.
this
We have the kids
discussion went on for quite some time the other day, of returning the tiles to the students who created them and letting the families have them, so.
I have two.
Oh, I have to.
Unfortunately, I don't have any anymore, but.
I have two, and I don't want them in my home, but I would love to have them somewhere in school.
I know they'll ruin my ceiling in my house, but
You're
Just
out of
I
FYI.
know exactly where they're gonna go in my house. If we can find a way to keep them in school, I'll be happier.
Okay, all right. So I think,
For whatever
All
that's
right.
worth.
I think,
Thank you.
thank you, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This
Yes, ma'am.
presentation.
We appreciate that.
Have
Okay,
to-
so
yeah.
now seeing the schematic offering that Josh gave of Delaney Elementary School from the 2023 bond, if we're going to go forward with that, which I think we should, we need to have a motion for that.
Make a motion to approve the design for JF Delaney Elementary as related to the 2023 bond as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Douglas. Motion by Dr.
Second.
Douglas, and second by Mr. Glovier. So, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks.
No, I'm not gonna oppose because of tiles.
So now, 8F, discuss and consider the central warehouse construction design and related to the 2023 bond as well. So,
All right, good evening.
good evening, good evening.
Take us away.
All right, so I'm gonna start out with the central warehouse, what I'm calling 100% construction documents. What I'm looking for tonight is approval so that I can put it out for competitive seal proposal. I'm gonna try to do that the first week of June. So what you're looking at now is the site plan, and this has expanded a lot from where it started. We really started with just a loading drive in the dock Now we actually have dumpsters out there. We have revised parking. You talked to me about this the last time. As you note, we've cut off that little access between Delaney and into that back loop. Now we've actually put 8 spaces there, and then between there and what's going to be the central warehouse, which is that gray box, and the green line is right at the top of it. That area in between there, you'll have your loading drive, you have the loading dock, and then you'll have around 33 spaces there, and they'll curve and go up toward Clover Lane. If you go back toward Crestview, you have 32 spaces that we're putting in there. Now, one of the things that's happening is there's a level change as you come around on that back loop of Delaney and then to the front where the administration is. So a part of this, we're gonna have to work on the drainage in that area, but we've got the grading together, we're moving forward with that, and we were able to pivot and incorporate that. This came up, the changes came up, I believe, early April. We had to go back out and add to the survey. We did that, and we were able to get a new design on it and try to stay on track. It did knock us back a couple of weeks. That's why I'm saying the 1st of June to put it out. I really wanted to be in that situation right now, 100%. But we still got a little ways to go. One other thing, if you follow the green area that I've highlighted, in between the central warehouse and the other parts of the building, that's a new drive that we're putting in for technology. They have a lot of deliveries back and forth to the schools, and they wanted to have a back door where they could just pull up their van, unload, load, whatever they need to do, and they get right out of there and not have to come into that loading dock, or to that loading dock on the other side. One thing I didn't mention is the trucks, when they come in, they're gonna come in off of Crestview. They're gonna start going around this loop as if they're gonna make their way up to Clover Lane, and then they'll back into the loading drive. So there's plenty of room for them to maneuver, and then they're able to pull back out and go back to Crestview. So all the deliveries should happen off of Crestview. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. So within the building, we had a little bit of scope creep. There's a couple of things that came up in April. One, let's see if I can use my mouse on it. Yes, that's good. Prior to April, there was a discussion that they needed a secure area out there in the warehouse. We have a wire mesh partition that's in the front here. This is where the pallets are gonna come in and get dropped off for the technology. We have a little area here. They wanted some kind of wash station. They handle computers and stuff like that, and they get grime and things on their hands, and they need to keep their hands clean. So we did put a station in there for them. Down here, we were talking with Eileen. She made us aware that there's mops and other things that need to be washed. So we've added a washer and dryer, a commercial one. And then we also added an additional station. We had 4 stations for the techs. This is an additional station because there's a 5th person that's coming on board with technology. We originally did not have a freezer in this building. It's over at the high school. We were asked to look at moving it. When we looked at moving it, we found that it's probably not in a great condition. I won't go into the history of it, but it doesn't need to be moved. So we are now looking at a new freezer. And as far as food service, the bottom of this pallet rack right here, that's their area. And then there's other pallets we can put over the top, but they have some of the heavier pallets, and they do need a place to put those where they can break them down and then, take them out to the loading dock, load up their vans or whatever, and take it out to the different school, or different, campuses. Now, as a result, here's one other thing. We did add office area for the warehouse. Originally, there was some discussion about how the warehouse was going to be run. Now it's going to be 2 individuals at least, or maybe one more, so maybe 2 to 3 that will be there to run the warehouse. And so they need an office space. So we did add that out there in the warehouse. Above that, I'm going to create a platform. This could be an area where they could have additional storage. So we actually put a ladder right here at this corner so that they can get access up there and they can actually store. As far as technology, This IDF room has evolved into a MDF room. I've doubled the size of it, and the main reason to do that, and I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen in our discussion, the size of that room is really based upon serving this area, but the truth of the matter is, now that you have technology there, you're probably going to start moving more of your servers, and you're going to expand that, and that's probably going to serve more like a district server room. So we just said, at this point, we're going to double the size of the room. I'm going to put 2 mini splits in there. They'll run off of one condenser. So what that allows you to do is you can either put both of them in now, or you can put one, and then when you upgrade and you add more servers in there, you can add the other mini split. And then the rest of that area up above, and this is over the tech area, that's going to be storage. We also have a equipment lift that we're putting in, so that's not for people, that's just to help them hoist equipment up there. Trying to make sure if I'm missing anything. So this is just an overview. You can see the new freezer in the back here. You see the Corlin door, that's the door from the loading dock, the main area. We have our pallet racks and shelving. Technology, this is their back door so that they can quickly get in and out and do their deliveries. And then we have the tech area here. And on the flip side, that's the area that's out in the warehouse. That's the secured area where we have the wire mesh partition in the front. And then we added the offices here, and then you also have a dock. So some areas that the numbers started going up because of some of the changes that have happened recently. It was the stud walls, and that's because we added the office space. The wire mesh partition actually came down because now we had to put walls in where we actually had a wire mesh partition. The interior partitions, that number went up. Doors, we have more doors. Oops, excuse me. Ceilings, I have more ceilings. We have the new freezer. That number is based on talking with Imperial Brown and also Arctic. So that's where I got these numbers from. So it's an average between them. Technology furniture, that number's up a bit, and then below there, we actually have the install costs now. Grading, the revegetation, all of that. As I said previously, it was just a loading dock, and that was it. Now we have all this other area that we're taking care of. So you're looking at just in the site itself about 1.3 million. And we do have communication cabling, we have access controls and video surveillance. So I have those numbers in there now. So what we're looking at is with a 10% design contingency in there, about 3.3 million. It would be 3 million if we didn't have to use any of that design contingency. And that's just straight cost. That's not any kind of soft cost associated with it. But the good thing is the furniture's already in this.
HVAC, climate control on there as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was
that's
already- that was
included in
already
mechanical,
factored in?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
So just kind of a point you mentioned, now that we have, if the warehouse is put into effect, we won't have to buy items in pieces, we can buy pallets worth
Yes.
of items,
Bulk,
correct?
yes.
Yes.
And then by adding the washer and dryer, we're cutting down, right now we outsource the laundry, you know, for our custodial group. That all has to be done and processed, and there's a cost monthly associated with that, so we would save those costs by being able to do it in the warehouse instead. So, yes, it's more expensive now, but it's gonna save us money in the long run, so.
It's like going to Costco.
Love it.
And
Why can't we go to Sanders better?
at this point, these are all the needs, the things that you need here at the central warehouse. I would encourage us to go ahead and move forward, put this out for bid, and if it looks as though we need to get some money out of it, work with whoever it is that you select as a contractor and work with them. The thing I have found over and over again is if you put it out and it comes in higher than what you expect, every time you go back and you take scope out, you change it, it comes in about the same price or higher. And it's unfortunate, but I've seen it over and over again. to the point now that I just advise, it's best to just put it out there, find out what your price is, and try to work with that.
Yeah, I'll also go back to the efficiency, like right now, where we have to store things and how we have to offload them. Like right now, we have to bring a tractor, put forks on it, unload a truck, break it down, break the pallets down, put it on pallet jacks, wheel it into the CSS building. Right now, we have the gym that's open right now because we can get stuff inside there, but we still have to break everything down. Just the man hours that we take to break things down, to get them unloaded and moved into certain areas so that we can store it temporarily till we can move it to other places. This will save a lot of time, effort, and efficiency.
And you have the ability to stack 3 pallets high. The racks that we're getting allow you, it's not high level or high, whatever, I'm missing the word on it, but there's a certain level that if you go past it, then you have other requirements. This is below that, but it will allow you to have 3 pallets high, which should take care of you now and into the future. And that's the thing we were thinking about here. The pallets and the pallet racks and the shelving, that wasn't a terribly high cost, so you came out good on that. Whereas if I had just done maybe 2 level, you're not talking about a whole lot of price difference. The other thing that I didn't mention is that we have a forklift in this cost, and we also have 2 pallet jacks. So that's a part of the cost.
That's good. No more scope creeping expected, right?
Not if I can get this on the street center. No, that should be everything unless there's anything else. So far, the major one was the site. The rest of the stuff has been little. That was the major hit right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
it does improve the way that everything connects together. And it took care of where you were talking about the parking that we were taking away and how we're gonna handle putting it back.
I like the way it looks. Makes a whole lot of sense to me, the way it turned out. Any additional questions? If not, I will entertain a motion for this as well.
To approve the construction design for the central warehouse as presented.
All right, that is motion by Mr. Serta,
I'll second.
and that is second by Ms. Cruz Perez. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All we
So
need
yeah, we're gonna get the buzzers, so we can.
I want buzzers.
Just let go a little.
Whoever buzzes in first gets the.
All right, so since we've had a motion and a second, I'll entertain sorry. I'm going backwards instead of going forwards. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. So he doesn't move, and he's still back up for 8G, discuss and consider development design for KJHS as related to the 2023 bond.
Okay, so this is an overview. I wanted to just kind of briefly go over the drainage at the junior high school. This is something we've actually discussed with the city and with their engineer, and they are very happy about this plan. What you see there in red is actually the property line, and it is where the shared drainage channel is with the neighbors. What we're doing, the area in green, we're capturing all that, and in the upper right corner, that's gonna be a detention pond with an outlet. That's gonna capture that water, that section of water. The drainage is all gonna go toward this detention pond. Once it makes its way to the detention pond, that black line you see is a piece of pipe. It's gonna take it over to an existing drainage channel that you have on your site, which is the district site, for the field and the track. That goes directly to the floodplain. So now what we're gonna do is any water that's on the district's property, we're capturing it before it gets to that shared drainage channel, and we're taking it directly over to the floodplain. Now, the yellow lines that you see there, we're gonna have some storm sewer. The main reason to do that, you have an existing building and a new building, they're right next to each other. I have water draining in that area. We're gonna take that, pipe it, and take it over to that detention pond. And so when it hits that detention pond, it's gonna hold it, control the rate, then it's gonna go down that black line, which is pipe, and it's gonna take it over to that drainage channel, the existing one that's for the track and the field, and then it's gonna take it straight to the floodplain. So this just keeps everything contained within the district's property, and then straight to the floodplain.
Okay.
So those two yellow lines there, those are pipes?
Those are pipes. Those are gonna
And
be
then
storm sewer pipes. They're gonna
everything
be
else-
tied to the building. Yeah.
Everything else goes into the detention pond there? How is that
Yes,
just
the
gravity?
whole green area makes its way into that detention pond.
Okay.
So all of that is drainage that's coming off the site. making its way toward the drainage, detention pond, and then it arrows, the yellow, that's the storm sewer, and that's making its way to the detention pond. So everything's making its way to that detention pond, then we're taking it to the right, which is taking it straight over to the flood.
How deep will the pond be?
Looking at about 4, maybe 5 feet, at the very lowest point of it, yeah.
Will there be fencing or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally
So
went to
really,
high
the
school.
berm is, and we can put fencing on it, but the berm is at the top there and at the side. That water's flowing into basically a triangle. That's the way we're catching it that way. We're just actually sloping everything down and then holding it in that area and then controlling the rate at which it makes its way over to the floodplain.
Oh, I don't think we're asking fencing for water. I think we're asking fencing for kids.
Yeah,
It's not gonna hold water all the time.
Yeah, it's just,
what?
yeah, it's just
What was that?
controlling it
Say
during
that
a
again?
rain
Say that
event.
again, sir,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's not gonna hold water all the time. So a detention pond.
It's not a retention pond.
Right, a retention pond would be one that holds water. A detention pond is gonna capture the water and hold it for a period and then slowly release it. So
Right.
about the time it's a few hours after it's done raining, it's gonna be empty.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining
So,
that.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, kids.
So, fish tournament.
I was envisioning when your junior high kids leave for
I'm-
their.
Yep,
Yeah.
last day in
Yeah.
8th grade. My ideas.
Thank you for clarifying that
Yeah.
for us.
All right, we can go, were there any other questions on this? I'm sorry. All right, the overall site, you have the existing high school. Off to the left, we're gonna put 2 play courts. There's been a suggestion to take off the L shape there and just take it straight across. I'm gonna double check and see if that's what we wanna do.
What do you mean,
Well,
the L
you're-
shape?
you're
Uh,
waiting
the
really
play courts.
fast.
So there's 2 play courts on the left. There's this
Oh,
one
I
right here.
see, the
Yeah.
top
The
play
L-
court.
And this one
The
has
play
an L
court,
shape
it's an
to
L
it.
shape.
I see.
And so it's been requested just to take it straight across and take off this portion on it. So I'm just gonna double check that before we actually do, make that change. I haven't talked with the staff about it, but that was, in some other, meetings that we've had.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you'll have a play area, which would be a soccer field / football area, play area, that's all contained. We've talked with Johnny about this, all the fencing around it, which is actually gonna start at this corner right here. It's gonna follow the back of the road, come all the way around, and it'll stop right here up against the building. That's all gonna be 8-foot fencing. You have the addition in the back, that's 31,000 square feet, give or take. We have canopies in front, we have canopies in the back. Those canopies are between the existing building and the new. We have a canopy between the building addition and what's gonna be now the CTE building. Is currently technology. That's where they are right now. So we'll get that building out, come back, and we'll build 3 classrooms. I can show that later. But I just wanted to get you familiar with what we're doing on the site. We're gonna have fencing all around and gates.
Does the scope in this current plan,
Have the field house?
I wasn't gonna ask that yet. I was gonna ask, since you have this up, resurfacing, I had asked you about that.
The parking lot to the, yes, the south.
Yeah, so we have, as you see here, we're putting
No,
this.
further down, like
Right
just
here?
all right there, is
Yes,
there
this is all
huge?
new.
Okay,
Yeah, right now it's just dirt there, or
Gravel.
gravel, and so we're gonna come
Potholes.
back and we're actually gonna put asphalt there and a curb.
Mud.
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, it's, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Perfect, thank
So
you.
yes, this is all new right here.
Great.
Correct.
Just wanted to
And we're
double check.
restriping,
Great,
yeah.
thank you.
And so as you see, we've discussed this before, parents will come around this loop on the backside, buses will loop on the front, and you see that you can have up to 14 buses up there in the front. And we're,
We don't have that many. Yeah, that's good.
We don't have that many.
any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
So since you mentioned the field house,
Yes. So the field house, I didn't put it on there, but the field house, we're basically looking at doing flooring and paint. This summer, they're gonna actually go in and do the insulation. So it's very limited work. There's some ceilings that we're doing there, but the ceilings are kinda in the office areas.
Do they need
Everything-
ceiling tiles?
I
Yeah,
was
you can
gonna
use it.
ask.
I kind of have fun sometimes.
Thank you.
Hey, you know those little squares things here? Those are good sand
Those
hogs, and
squares are
things
just,
right
and I'll get to
in
that
there.
later, they have to
And
do
just
with
push.
areas, so that I can talk about how far we're going with renovation. So this dashed green line, and this is something that came up, that's gonna be your storm shelter. We originally were looking at trying to do it at the existing gym, but what we found after we did the testing and we got the information back, it just wasn't sufficient to tilt wall. We had to come back and add additional structure in order for it to work, which priced it out of how much it would cost to try to do it in this new addition, where we thought it might be the opposite.
So that's delayed us because waiting on the state to.
Yeah, and then I've also applied for a grant. And so the last I asked them in April, they said, you're in the list of people that we're going through. And we're gonna check again and find out what's happening with that. But I'm trying to, to work with them, and I'll have to let them know about this update in the change that we're doing. But we are trying to get money to help offset this. It's looking like about $1.3 million just to do the storm shelter, on top of just the cost of the addition. So within the storm shelter, you'll have in purple, which are the science classrooms, and then you have the other two science classrooms below. What we've done is in between the prep rooms, we've made that a command center, so that during this emergency, there will be a place where they can set up. They'll be set up with communications, wireless, whatever we need to put in there for that. And we're talking about making this the IDF room. After talking with Crux, they felt like we could probably fit everything in there. And they said since it's protected and it's very much in the center of the building, they like that idea. But, anything outside of the storm shelter, those are the areas that if there was a tornado that could get damaged, but anything inside the shelter, that's all good. We're gonna make sure that it's impact resistant. I believe 120 mile per hour, I'll double check that. Winds, and so it'll be rated for all that.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw a question out.
yeah,
These are science labs.
yeah.
With our grade levels, are there any chemicals or anything that we would not want to have in these areas? So-
The only place where you have chemicals would be down here, and I believe the chemicals they use are very low in acidity and all that. But these are your chemistry labs down here. This is mostly general science and physics, biology, stuff like that. The area right here is your multi-purpose spaces. I've actually added in the middle here a vertical rising partition. It'll be a marker board surface on both sides, and so you could actually open that up, and this will make it a more flexible room that you can use for a variety of things. The good thing is we're gonna have the restroom inside the storm shelter, so that can serve this whole area during the storm. We do have a special ed. I am going to add a door probably in this corner here. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best orientation of it. I may move some things around. I may flip the custodial with the copier and maybe make it come through the copier. I'd rather do that than through the custodial. So I just need to look at it a little closer. But I am gonna allow them some connection so that when they're in here and there's a storm, they can actually connect with everyone else. They won't be isolated. And I've done the same thing in these classrooms down here. I've added a door already at each of the classrooms that connects between them. And then, of course, with this command center and the prep rooms, you have connectivity throughout there so they can actually walk through. But all the doors, all the openings, which will actually have a storm shutter right here on this corridor, all of those will be rated for ICC 500, which is the code for these shelters. On the left side, you have 4 classrooms. On the right side, we have 3 art labs. And as you see, we have a very large storage room for them, a linear one so that they can put a lot of shelving if they need it for storing projects. We have the AP office right here. We have 2 staff restrooms. And this area right here is an area that we're looking at for steam. We'll set it up so that you can, put steam in there. So you don't necessarily have to do it right now, but we'll have you set up so that when you decide to move forward with it, or you have someone who can partner with you on it, you can actually go ahead and do that. But otherwise, you can just use it as a classroom until then.
So it would be like another multi-purpose space.
It'd be another
Could be
multi-purpose
another
space.
multi-purpose.
And it's a good size room. This is the CTE building, and we've divided it into 3 classrooms. They're roughly $825 a square foot for each of the classroom. And then you have 2 individual restrooms out here, men's and women's. As far as the renovation, we're taking existing science labs that are located right here and converting them to 3 classrooms, again, in excess of 800 square feet. And then we're also looking at 2 science labs over here, but you have an existing custodial closet. It has a number of things. It has a panel in there, it has a water heater. So I cannot move that. I needed to leave that in place. So what I created was a little corridor to the sped room that's gonna be toward the back. This area with the dashed lines around it, there are 3 regular classrooms. We're doing very little to it, a little bit of acoustical treatment, and they're gonna use it as practice rooms. And that's for the band hall. The areas in gray represent areas where we're just gonna be looking at painting. We're not gonna necessarily get into doing anything with the flooring. Now, the rest of the campus at the restrooms, we're gonna go in, basically gut out the restrooms, come back with new ceramic tile, new ceilings, new lighting, which I believe you actually have lighting going on this summer, so we'll probably leave the lighting in place and then work around that. New toilet partitions, new toilet fixtures, and new toilet accessories. The other areas in white, we're going to be doing new flooring, we're going to be doing painting, and then in the corridors, we're going to add ceramic tile on the walls. And the last time we were in here, we kind of extensively went through some of the finishes and what we're looking at doing. When I have some of the more later renderings of it, I'll bring that with me on the next go around to show you during construction documents. So again, it's the 2 science labs converted into 3 classrooms. You have the restroom that we just talked about, all the work we're going to do there. You have the 2 science labs, and there's a custodial closet that's going to need to remain, and that's going to convert into 2 classrooms and 1 smaller classroom. And then, as I spoke about earlier, the 3 classrooms are going to turn into practice rooms. So this is kind of a rough elevation of what we're doing. So now that the building has changed, I am in the process of updating the elevations. I have actually started adding or reducing the amount of brick that I have on the building to look at putting metal panel up. That is so that we can start bringing costs down. I'll show you later that with the estimate we got, we were a little on the high side. So this is the estimate. As you see at the bottom there, it says 1.3 million for the shelter, the storm shelter. They're looking at around 24 million, which is higher than what we were expecting. We were thinking closer to about 18 to 19. In going through their numbers, they have a lot of places where they just put plug numbers in because it was schematic design. So I believe those numbers are going to come down. I have about 2 weeks ago sent over our design development set to them and said, guys, we have more information in there. We need you to scrub with these numbers and look a little closer at it. So they're in the process of doing that. I would have liked to have had a DD estimate here, but they're still working on it. So hopefully next week or the week after we should have that. But I think this number where it's at, I believe there's at least a couple of million in there that I think they're a little wrong about, that now that they'll get into the DD set, I think those numbers will come down. So what I want to show here on the schedule is I'm coming in tonight to try to get approval on design development, and I want to get right into working on the construction documents, and I am projecting on July 26th to be ready to turn that over to the CMAR, to the construction manager, so that he can actually put it out and he can start bidding it. And at that time, I'll try to have him come and talk about what that looks like in the timeframes for getting the numbers.
Any additional questions? A lot of information, but a lot of good stuff. I will say this, it kind of makes me excited about kind of getting it started, because I can't wait to see the actual field, you know, of it.
Yeah.
I have one quick question for you, and I don't mean to go back all this
Yeah.
way, but that drainage pipe, how wide are we talking?
It hasn't been sized yet.
It hasn't been, is it based off of?
It's gonna be based off of how much water we're taking off the roofs.
Okay.
That's what it's gonna be based on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if it is child size, we put
No matter what the pipe size is, we always put pipes on the front of it so that people can't go up in there and enter into it. Yep. So it'll have a head wall and it'll have something on there to keep people from, entering into the pipe. It won't be just an open pipe.
Gotcha.
You have curious children. And curious adults.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions on the right side over here? I know there was a lot of information. If you guys had anything you wanted to address, we can go into that question now. On the left side, if you guys had anything additional? Sounds like we're all excited about moving forward.
And just to let you know, I am working on, as we're going through, anything I can see that we can cut costs on, I'm proposing that and sending it over to them.
Well, that'll make all of us smile if you can.
I guess you just brought that up, so I know you said you were gonna have that update on that price in the next
Yeah, the
1 to 2
next 2
weeks.
weeks, let's say next 2 weeks, because when I
Okay.
talked to them, they were still working on it, and they said it'd probably be a week or two before
Okay.
they could have it updated.
And we will review that when we go to bidding and
Oh,
construction.
absolutely,
Yeah,
before
okay.
we put it out on the street, yes.
It's just a
we will, yeah.
huge, it's like a.
Yeah, so in July, I'm expecting to be able to come in
33%.
and be able to have more of a, actual GMP for them, from
Okay.
them, that
Okay.
we can actually sit down and say, hey, this is ready to go.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right.
That's exciting.
All right, guys.
Guarantee match.
Keep looking at occupancy and available for use dates.
If we are ready to move forward with this, I will entertain a motion.
A motion to approve the design for renovations at Kennedale Junior High School as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Glover and second by Mr. Serta. All in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you
All right,
very
thank
much.
you. Y'all have a good night.
All right, so that went smoothly. We're now down to section number 9, which is the superintendent's report. So I will turn this over to Dr. G to give his report.
All right, so you have your enrollment and attendance and the home developments. You know, everything kind of stays the same. I don't really see a need to kind of go through everything. I mean, we're kind of hanging, we lost some students, but we kind of hang right in the same area. We have increased our enrollments from the neighborhoods that we have seen. The town, we now have 13 students from the town, which is the one right behind Kroger. Alta Landing's up to 23 and Hammock Creek is up to 62 students. So we are starting to see significant numbers starting to come out of from there. Like I said, when we heard they were being built, we weren't sure what they were gonna add to our enrollment. But as you can see, our enrollment is still down compared to what it was, so I don't see that it's gonna make a significant difference there. So unless you got questions on that, I was gonna move on.
Can you do those one more time? I'm sorry. The town 13, just do the.
Town is 13, Alta Landing has 23, and Hammock Creek has 62.
Thank you.
And with all the houses that were built in Magnolia Hills, we've got 18 out of there, and Hogan's Cottages, which are the new ones that are coming up over there by Patterson, we have 2 so far. So, and then our Success Center graduates, we've had 21 Success Center graduates this year. We have 5 KHS early graduates, and we have 19 students from open enrollment in our district. So, and we're gonna hopefully add more with this next school year, so.
How's the kinder looking since we opened?
I can't hear you.
How's the kinder looking since we, I'm not kinder, pre-K looking since we opened pre-K?
Pre-K enrollment, right now, I think we're at about 40. Yeah.
Like the tuition-based one?
But they're staggering it out and doing it
Okay.
over, but right now we're at about 40. Miss Wells, I spoke to her, she seems very happy with where we're at. with
We're
it
getting
right
something.
now. So, yeah. Graduation numbers, I believe we have.
One more question, I'm
Okay.
sorry. For next time, because I know probably don't have this. When graduation is complete, can we look at what number
Projections rolling up.
that should have graduated, didn't graduate, are gonna go back, are gonna go to six, like, where's that number? I know there were a number that were struggling.
You're talking about our continuers or
That's what they're called, yeah.
dropouts or? no?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll get
Kind of
on
what the
that.
projection was for graduation and kind of what,
Yeah, that'd be good, because by that time, we'll know.
We'll know.
Next month, we'll know.
exactly,
more,
who
so.
did and who didn't, and then what our game plan is. Did they drop out? Did they go to Success Center? Did they go to that summer, recovery thing? What do those numbers look like?
Okay. Graduation numbers, I believe we're sitting 260, between 260 and 265, but like you said, some of those may or may not be ready by Friday, depending, so, but that's a pretty high number for us for graduation, so this is one of our larger classes graduating, so that's pretty substantial, and so we may be there for a little while Friday night, so be ready. I believe.
That's great.
Everybody's planning on being in attendance. You're not gonna be able to be there.
Unfortunately, I will not be able, I'll not be in town, I cannot be
Everybody else
there.
is. So. And I think we'll talk about, well, we can go ahead and talk about that right now. How many are planning on riding with me to the ceremony? So, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah, I'll meet you
3.
guys there. I'll be coming in.
Okay, so we'll
straight.
need to meet at administration at about 5:15 to get there by about 5:30. So graduation's at 6.
Straight.
Be parked by 5:15.
It's gonna be hard to do if we leave at 5:15.
Exactly her point.
Yeah. All right, so we need to leave by 5 from the administration and to get there by 5:15 and be in the building. And we're gonna be there for a long time, so, there's usually food upstairs, so we might come hungry, so,
Good.
don't eat popcorn before you come.
Okay.
So, yeah. And if you're going on your own, I think y'all know where to park. You got.
Yeah, we've got the thing.
Is it the same place we parked last year?
Probably so. All right, SLI presentation, I think have I sent you a copy of the outline yet? Okay, so my fault. I'll send you a copy of the outline so you can kind of look through it. I've kind of got it lined out who's presenting when. I've kind of sent that to you, so you will know. I will send the outline and start getting input. The main part I want you focused on is the board considerations, what you were in consideration with, and so I'll talk about that more when I send it out to you. Construction update, I was actually give a quick construction update. We're still finishing up at the concession stand. I will tell you this, it will be ready before next baseball, softball season.
Oh my God.
Well,
I think we heard that before, didn't we?
Chad, that didn't go that well.
That didn't land.
Or,
No, that didn't.
yeah, so, yeah,
Yeah.
but it has been, we know what it's been, I'm not gonna get into it, but like I said, we're getting down to trying to get everything finished up and, making sure that everything's right, and so that's kind of where we're at right now. They went back and just regraded the parking lot. They were within 1% of what it needed to be for, I guess, the rating that it needed to have or whatever, and so they had to go back and redo it, and so they're on that process right now. So you want to talk to that?
Yeah, so they did do that. It was hot yesterday, that was good. That allowed them to get the compaction they were looking for. They did a mini little test out there. It looks like it came up significantly, so it's passing. They're gonna give it till Thursday, and they're gonna PSI, or I believe it's PSI. They're gonna come back out and they're gonna test it, and then we'll know for sure. One other thing they're gonna work on is getting a 2-year warranty from that contractor so that they can be held accountable for this well beyond just 1 year.
Okay. And I think all the moisture that we had impacted that. It wasn't drying out right.
That's why, they dried it out,
Didn't
had
need
heavy
to-
heat, and plus with the asphalt, immediately
So-
come back and roll it. They said they rolled it, did the test, it looked like it was passing, they rolled it again, just to be sure.
Okay. So we talked to them about starting to move the fencing in so that we can sit there, because we got other staging coming for the high school. Saturday, we got HVAC and roofing companies coming in to start getting stuff rolling at those, there in the junior high school. E3 is already moving along with their projects with the lighting, so they're already moving into campuses and working with the lighting aspects of it. So we got a lot of things already starting to kicking off. Saturday will be a big day. So they should be moving the fencing at the concession stand to sit there and start allowing for trucks to sit there and be able to pull back, because the staging area is going to be right outside this parking lot right out here. So that's going to be an area of high traffic with the trucks and all that coming and dropping off supplies. So I think you asked, what else did you want to know on construction? You'd asked for something, I thought. I can't remember.
I don't remember exactly what it was.
I think it was roofs, HVAC, and E3.
Yeah, I think it was the roofing that I was asking about. And but because I know I saw a container that was dropped off at the junior high school. I assume that was supplies that are going to be used for the roof.
You know, yes.
On which container. We did containers for extra storage.
Extra storage,
There's
yeah.
like 3 of them down behind the field house. That's all E3's lighting supplies and stuff.
So yes, and also we are also moving in we may be moving in some more additional containers just because storage, as we start having to move stuff out of places for the construction to take place, where we're going to put it. So storage is always an issue. So construction containers for us are fairly reasonable. We can buy them and we can store where we need it to be. So and we can get them moved if we need to move them. So, but that's But like I said, the E3 and the roofs and the HVAC, that's all kicking off Saturday. Yeah, they're gonna be swooping in, so it's gonna be a mess. So, yeah. Anything to add to that? Or-
Yeah, just a little bit. Y'all also have the upgrades at the PAC coming up. That's gonna start at the end of this month. And then, we had a pre-bid last week for the high school, and we're opening bids next week for that on Wednesday. So, a lot kicking off right now.
So get ready. It's gonna be,
It's exciting.
good. It's gonna be busy. It's gonna be, crowded.
It's the kind of excitement I like.
Okay. And then next.
Evaluation instrument.
Superintendent evaluation instrument.
Okay, I don't know why, I'm working on that, so I will have that to you before the next board meeting, and start evaluating it and going through there. And I think that's pretty much, I don't have a whole lot to really go over. Like I said, it's been a long couple of weeks, and Friday's gonna be a culmination of it. We will have, next Tuesday, we will have our end of year award ceremony, so I encourage you all to try to attend the end of year ceremony where we recognize our staff. That would be a big day, and that's at 2 o'clock, I believe. 2?
Tuesday.
2:30. Okay, at the PAC. So, all right.
Get the rocking
Anything else you want to know about?
Is that it?
All right. I kind of went through quickly. So.
All right, thank you, Dr. G. Okay, so we'll go to section 10, which is going to be board discussions. Obviously, the first thing we'll talk about is our meeting date for next month. And as we talk about our meeting date for next month, I want everybody to think about the days. I know there was no turnover this particular time, but if Thursdays are still the best date for everyone for us to try and meet, let me know that. And if there's a different date, that's going to be better.
So what I think Ashley was wanting you to consider is, we have a board policy that says it has to be on the 3rd, but we always end up having, because of our holidays and everything, the board policy kind of limits us and we end up having to change dates.
So we would have
If
to
there's a better
change
date
policy.
that works, like if having the meeting on a Monday night's better than Thursday night, or having it on Tuesday night, you know, we may need to sit there and have our TASB policy change that to where it gives us more flexibility to do it. So she just wants to consider, instead of us always having to change the dates
Yeah.
and the day, is there a better day of the week that works better and a better day of the month other than the third? Because that's what our policy says, but we're kind of handcuffed by that, other than the fact that we can't always have meetings on those dates, so changing it through y'all's action, you know.
Well, I don't know what changing the,
So we would have to
changing the
amend our
week-
policy.
Yeah, but what are we hoping to change? If we're gonna do it on the second week versus the third week, is there really gonna be a difference?
Well, I think a lot of it is where our
Holidays.
holidays fall.
School holidays.
School holidays, so looking at it, and, you know, I'll have her analyze it and look at it and see, you know, if we move them to the second week, does that give us more flexibility than it does by having it on the third week? You know, is it the third week that's handcuffing us? Because a lot of our holidays fall, you know, either right before or right after.
At the
You know,
end of the
having it on the first, you know, week instead of the third week, is that better, you know? So that, analyzing that, but also
Beginning of the
looking
week.
at a particular day.
Well,
You
throw
know,
off our
what
ability-
happens on Tuesday nights as opposed to what happens on Thursday nights? What happens on, you know?
Tuesday nights might be-
Wednesdays seem to be out because of church, so then what about Mondays? You know, well, Mondays are hard because it's coming off the weekend, so, you know, looking to see, I don't think this has to be settled tonight, it's just for discussion.
No, I don't think we probably would, because I think if we're gonna make a change, it need to be based on facts, not on the
Yeah.
feeling of the moment right now. So if we can get some data brought to us that would, you know, have some logical recommendations, then we can discuss that, but, I think that's what we need. Would you guys agree?
And I think her thought process was, we've been switching a lot of meetings to Tuesday nights, or Tuesday nights better, because we can get more people to than Thursdays, you know, so.
I think I'd wanna know what would that do for us before I say yeah or nay to that.
And I think we have to look at just scheduling conflicts with, like, you know, school events, you know, so.
Does the policy read generally? Does it say generally we will hold the meeting?
I don't believe it does, so, and if
It
any
says
way
we
to
will
look at it, we may wanna
be-
change the policy just so
pretty
it gives us.
concrete.
It's concrete.
Really, so maybe that's because I think if we, again, the data would be good, but if we go to Tuesday, are we gonna end up having to switch
Same
it because
thing.
there's a
Same
conflict?
thing. Same thing.
Versus if we change the policy to say generally, then we're much more in the spirit of, we definitely try to keep it, but generally, and if we can't, then we
Well,
move it around.
that is there has to be a change. I would have to look it up, but I know the wording is there, that if we have to change, that's all we've been able to change it.
I think it's a good idea if we get the data and then,
But, yeah.
and then we go from there. So if we could get that, that'd
See
be
how many
awesome.
times
I mean,
we've
it doesn't,
actually
the policy
moved
doesn't
to a
prevent us from
different
changing the
day.
dates, but I mean, it just may be better practice to have a more flexible policy. So.
Okay. But on the decision, let's make a decision about, our June meeting.
All right.
That day works.
Okay, so in June, the 3rd, that would be,
27.
that's the 20th, we're gonna be at SLI during that
Oh.
particular time.
On which day?
On the 20th?
Well, that's SLI Fort Worth on the 20th. So we're presenting, I think, on the 21st, but that's in the afternoon. But Ms. Moody will be at SLI for, in Fort Worth. Ms. Douglas, you're gonna be on vacation.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out the whole month of June, unfortunately, so any
So-
day would be fine, because unfortunately, it doesn't matter what you put. I'm not gonna be here.
So SLI San Antonio, I think, is the 14th, 15th, and 16th.
And I'm out after SLI, I'm out the last 2 weeks of June.
So you're out.
And I'm sure we don't wanna meet again in the next 2 weeks, so I probably also won't make the June meeting.
Okay. So that's really, I mean, if
Keep
we
it to
keep
the
it at
20th?
the,
I'm still writing.
We keep it on the 20th.
Our-
on the 27th, is everybody good with keeping it on the 27th?
27. No, it'll be in the 20th.
No,
No,
that's
we
SLI
did
Fort
seven.
Worth.
That's SLI Fort Worth, yes.
So they wanna do the 27th.
27.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I just need a date.
Now, we're going to need a special session, which will probably need to be the first week of June because of SLI and because y'all are gonna be out, but the special session, we have, textbook considerations that were left off, I believe, by accident, that we have to vote on, it's gonna take action. So we have to have y'all to approve that. That was done at the last board meeting, but there was one adoption that was mistakenly left off that we're gonna have to sit there and correct and fix in order to get it ordered in time to get it in.
Okay.
So would a Monday or Tuesday we're looking at for that?
It's a special one, so it could be quick, you know, hopefully, so it
Okay.
won't be long.
Can we do it at 6:30, so just,
I'm sorry?
can we do it 6:30 instead of 6, so I don't feel like I'm like
6:30?
speeding, please?
Okay.
So 6:30 on Monday the 3rd?
Monday the 3rd, that's fine,
Monday the 3rd?
6:30.
We're meeting here or at the, for the third?
We probably just meet at the admin.
Mm,
June 3rd.
What, is it?
At the admin.
All right, I'll figure
CSS
it out.
building.
June 3rd, 6:30, right?
At 6:30.
Oh, we're gonna meet at admin building?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, then I got it taken care of.
All right, so we have a special meeting on the 3rd of June at 6:30 at the admin building, and then we have our regular board meeting on June the 20th at 6 o'clock here.
During that special session, we'll also kind of go over the SLI presentation so everybody knows what we're going to be presenting on and how we're going to do it and kind of go through it, all right?
That's on the 3rd.
Okay, I'll
Oh,
have
wait,
the
I'm
clicker.
sorry.
I'll pass the slide.
Our regular meeting is the 27th,
Mhm.
yes.
The
And
27th.
then the 3rd is the special.
Special meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you just said the 20th.
I did say the 20th, so
Okay.
that's, that was,
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Last year.
We're not meeting on the 20th except to educate other boards.
That's right.
Well, we're meeting at SLI, yeah.
Yeah,
SLI,
SLI,
right.
that's what- yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that scheduled. Okay, so just a couple of things that are upcoming. Graduation, we know, is May 24th. We talked about that. In the service awards and retiree, that's going to be on May 28th. And that is at 2:30 p.m. in the PAC. And grassroots resolution, board evaluation, you talked about that already. You're compiling that.
It's already compiled, y'all should have the results. She put it into pie charts for you, so took all the answers and put them into pie charts for you to kind of go through and look at. And then we can, at the regular meeting, we can, so kind of go through it, look at it, and if y'all want to have any further discussion on it, then let me know what you would like to discuss. And
Okay.
put it on the regular meeting for June, okay?
All right, great. So 11, we'll move now to section 11, personnel. And Dr. G, what you want to say on that? Resignation, retirement?
I don't have anything, honestly, so.
We have a listing of
unless
that, and I guess we'll recognize those that are retiring at the ceremony.
The ceremony, that's already
Okay.
set up, which is,
Uh,
we have some retirement, like the ones that are retiring, they're doing things at the campuses and been attending those. I don't know if y'all are getting, did y'all get notification of those? Like the little, they're hard to get to kind of in the middle of the day, so I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause I think one's happening at like noon.
Yeah, there's one's at
Oh.
noon on, for three of them at the high school and
I
then.
saw there was one.
Someone sent when all of them were, was it Jordan? Someone
Yeah.
sent.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Thank you, Jordan.
Okay.
But we will be recognizing them all at the award ceremony at the end of the year. So.
I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm gonna be able to make it, but I have an appointment that it's gonna be tough for me to miss, so I may miss that one as well. So hopefully not, but hopefully I will be there. Okay, are there any other matters that, concerning personnel or anything else that we need to, discuss? Nothing else? No, this may be the last time I say this, but, Mr. Glovier?
Mr. President, I move to adjourn this meeting and get up out of here.
And meeting adjourned at 8:54 PM.